There may be no two people in the world who are more different than 1999 Clinton-era Lindsey Graham and modern-day Lindsey Graham during the era of Donald Trump.
So the point I'm trying to make is you don't even have to be convicted of a crime to lose your job in this constitutional republic. If this body determines that your conduct as a public official is clearly out of bounds in your role. The verdict is in. There was no collusion. There's no obstruction of a crime that never occurred. The obstruction thing was bizarre to me to begin with.
In fact, the Republican response this time around, faced with presidential lawlessness and open defiance of norms and even of Congress itself, has been mainly silence. As a damning new political ad by a group of renegade traditional Republicans points out. Do not adjust the volume on your TV as you take a look. Democrats are now calling on Republicans not to repeat some of their tactics from the last presidential election. The Democratic National Committee pledging not to, quote, weaponize stolen private data, with Chairman Tom Perez writing an open letter to RNC Chairwoman Ronna Romney McDaniel that, quote, I'm calling on you to put country above party and publicly pledge that the Republican National Committee will do the same. Here with me now is Tom Perez, chairman of the Democratic National Committee. Thank you very much for being here, Tom.
Always a pleasure, Joy.
So the response from the RNC, per BuzzFeed from today, to your pledge that the Democrats will not use hacked material in the upcoming presidential election and asking the Republicans to do the same. Republican National Committee spokesman pointed to Ronna McDaniel's previous comment saying that McDaniel has made it very clear where she stands, quote, any breach of our political organizations, regardless of parties, an affront to all of us, and we should come together as Americans to prevent it from ever happening again. It's important that we do all we can to safeguard our elections, she's previously stated. Is that good enough?
Of course not. If I were in a court of law, as I used to do at the Justice Department, I would say, objection, Your Honor, non-responsive. This is a really simple proposition. If a foreign adversary steals information that's private and then tries to traffic it to anyone, you should say no, period. This isn't about right versus left. This is about right versus wrong, Joy. And that's the simple proposition here. We know what happened in 2016. The Russians hacked the DNC. They hacked into John Podesta and others, and they used that stolen information because they wanted to help Donald Trump and hurt Hillary Clinton. And what we're simply saying is candidates shouldn't participate in any such activity. This is about our democracy. It's a layup, or should be a layup, but apparently not for Ms. McDaniel.
Well, or for Donald Trump's TV lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, who's also a former United States attorney. He's a former federal prosecutor. But here's what he said on CNN regarding the very thing you were just speaking about.
There's nothing wrong with taking information from Russians.
There's nothing wrong with taking information.
It depends on where it came from. It depends on where it came from. People get information from this person, that person.
Mr. Chairman, are you advising those who are running for president in 2020 to be prepared to have information from foreign adversaries used against them? And what will be the plan of the Democratic Party and the Democratic National Committee in the event that that happens?
Well, we are at war right now. It's a cyber war. And unfortunately, our commander-in-chief is emasculated in this because he was a beneficiary of that cyber war. And so what we've done at the DNC is invest more in cybersecurity than ever before. We've just completed our third training of candidates to make sure that they understand the weaponization or the potential weaponization of data. We are absolutely preparing for a repeat of 2016. Why? Because there were no consequences to the Russians from this administration. They welcomed it. And then you saw all the obstruction that occurred with this president. And so I think it behooves us to absolutely have all hands on deck on cybersecurity. And that's exactly what we're doing, not only at the DNC, but for the candidates. And we've hired a top flight team of cyber experts and others in the ecosystem, because this is our democracy that's on the ballot. And the non-responsive answer of Chairwoman McDaniel and the absolutely absurd statement of Mayor Giuliani, who's a former prosecutor who ought to know better. Heck, a 10-year-old would know better, Joy, that you don't traffic in stolen information.
Right, but it isn't just data. I mean, the cybersecurity aspect of it is obviously important. But you had the chairman of the Trump campaign, Paul Manafort, actually share good old-fashioned polling data with a Russian oligarch, hand it over to him, and that was data on crucial states, 3 of which Donald Trump wound up winning: Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Also shared about Minnesota. Is the party prepared that the candidate, Donald Trump, will simply run the same playbook again? It isn't simply about cybersecurity. The Mueller report found that they weren't involved in the hacking portion of it, but disseminating the information that resulted, the attempts to sow discord on social media that were encouraged on the right. Don't you just think that Donald Trump might just run the same playbook again?
Oh, there's absolutely that danger. I mean, what's clear from this administration, and frankly, what's clear throughout the entirety of his business practices, is that they will lie, cheat, and steal. They will do anything to win. They have so eroded institutions of democracy. That is why there is health care on the ballot, and we will continue to point out that the Democratic Party is the party fighting to save your health care. The Republicans are fighting to take it away. So many other things on the ballot. Our democracy is on the ballot. And Joy, you're absolutely right. We have to be prepared for more lying, cheating, and stealing, because they have an approach to undermining our democracy that is shameful. And that is why we're organizing everywhere. And that is why we're preparing for every eventuality. And we won in 2018 across this country in historic manners. But I am very sober about the realities of the upcoming campaign. And they will try to suppress the vote wherever they can. They will try to cheat. Right. They will try to weaponize things, and that's what we're preparing for at the DNC, and that is unfortunate. That's why our democracy is truly on the ballot, and I'm confident we can win. But it saddens me to no end, Joy, because this isn't who we are. This is not the party of Lincoln. The party of Lincoln has officially died. The party of Trump is not a party that represents our democratic values.
Tom Perez, chairman of the Democratic National Committee. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.